You must be tired of seeing Made in China stickers everywhere. Believe it or not, the tables are about to turn. China has been the global factory for a while. However, the United States seems to have awakened from slumber to reindustrialize aggressively. How did we get here? Keep watching this video to get the story of the most remarkable industrial production since the Second World War. Where America's industrialization journey began. Before reindustrialization, it means there was an industrialization. By industrialization, I refer to the establishment of manufacturing industries. Reindustrialization is, therefore, the re-establishment of these industries. The prefix re is borrowed from Latin and means again or back. Thus, the term reindustrialization is superimposing. The image that comes to mind is an excellent economy on the verge of collapsing. However, massive efforts to rebuild the economy turn everything around.
Right now, it's happening again for the fourth time. But this time, it's all about data and automation that are blurring the lines between the physical and digital world, where all of our devices are smarter, faster, deeply integrated into every aspect of our lives, and seemingly interconnected through one giant artificial brain.
That is precisely the story of the U.S. economy. The United States has had three reindustrialization phases: Industrialization 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0. Think of it as the three generations of the World Wide Web, each subsequent generation being a better and improved version. The United States is currently experiencing Industrialization 3.0. But where did it all begin? Keep watching as I take you through the remarkable industrialization journey of America. You will understand that it is not a cliché to say that America is the greatest country in the world. America's industrialization journey can be traced to the 1870s. A revolution of three things took place during this time. There is the establishment of industries manufacturing all sorts of finished products. The use of machines replaced the traditional agricultural techniques. At the same time, new transportation modes were used. Industrialization 3.0 significantly transformed American society. It set the former British colony on a path to world dominance. Cities like New York, Boston, and Philadelphia experienced exponential growth. The rapid growth was largely fueled by influx of people to urban areas searching for work. That is why you always hear the argument that the working class built America. Industrialization 1.0 continued until the First World War.
Solutions are messy things, whether they're either political or technological. The first industrial revolution was powered by coal and steam, but it was also powered by slavery, colonization, and child labor, which resulted in centuries of social unrest. The upending of traditional economies and traditional industries created an environmental impact that is still with us today.
You remember how the United States was reluctant to join the war because it was a European affair? However, that changed when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor in 1942. A sleeping giant was awakened. Before the war, industrialization was mainly fueled by the private sector. During the war, the government entered the fray by ordering wartime production. Factories producing children's toys were transformed into manufacturing plants for weapons, ammunition, and military equipment. America was officially in Industrialization 2.0, which made Industrialization 1.0 look like a child's play. After the war, the U.S. government handed over the industrial sector to private firms by selling private firms at discounted prices. This move sparked the post-war reindustrialization process. America transitioned from wartime production to peacetime production. People were ready to splash the cash they had to ration during the devastating war. You could say they were prepared to party like it was 1999. The U.S. economy peaked in the years following the defeat of Hitler and his allies. Made in America was a source of pride and joy for every American. As you may know, success can lead to complacency, which can lead to failure. This wise saying summarizes what happened to America's industrial success story.
And this process wasn't limited to just blue-collar workers. Professional credentials and shared research practices fostered the rise of corporate research that was so essential for industrial manufacturing in the United States and Europe throughout the 20th century.
American industrial growth stagnated in the 1960s and 1970s. Capital investments became mediocre, and productivity immensely declined. The evidence of the decline of America's industry is evident today. If you travel across the United States, it is hard to miss abandoned factories and ghost towns, which were once booming industrial towns. The United States went from success to failure in a matter of decades. The subject of this video is the most extraordinary reindustrialization process the United States is currently experiencing. It must be a remarkable story to tell, and I am excited to be the one telling it to you. The emergence of China in the 1980s. As American manufacturing declined, other countries took over the mantle. It was around this time that China was undergoing its industrial revolution. We are specifically talking about the period after the 1980s. In just 3 decades, China has grown to become a global factory. In contrast, Western countries and Japan took centuries to achieve this milestone. You might have become accustomed to the Made in China labels, tags, and stickers. The gadget you use to watch this video may be manufactured in China. You may wonder, why does everything appear to be manufactured in China? Various factors contribute to this trend. Let me start by briefly explaining the history of China. The country has for centuries been a peasant economy with little global significance. Indeed, the history of modern China did not begin until 1949, when Mao Zedong spearheaded the creation of the People's Republic of China. In the years following the Communist Revolution, China was another third world country. Less than 4 decades ago, the Chinese per capita income was a fraction of sub-Saharan Africa's GDP per capita. It is essential to give credit where it is due. China has overcome enormous odds to rise through the ranks to a global industrial power quickly. The rise of China has been at the expense of the United States. How is China's economic miracle even possible? We don't usually associate communism with economic progress. You might know that in American politics, the term communism is considered a dirty word. Being called a communist is among the worst political insults. The rise of China has not been a miracle in the actual sense. 2 factors have been essential in facilitating the Asian country's manufacturing breakthrough. These are the liberalization of the domestic market and openness to international trade. Unlike communist countries such as Cuba and North Korea, China has reoriented its economy in line with capitalism. This reorientation has resulted in the rapid industrialization of the country. Other factors have also favored China's industrialization. The country's enormous population of more than 1.4 billion people is at the top of the list. China's population is more than 4 times that of the United States. The large population means that cheap labor is abundant, which lowers the cost of production. The country also has a robust business ecosystem, lax regulatory practices, and low taxes and duties.
Chinese workers get a small fraction of what American workers for the same work. It doesn't take rocket science to say I can make much more money making the sneakers or the shirts or the software programs or the computers over there. It's so much cheaper, I can still ship the stuff on a plane or a boat 10,000 miles and still make more money. So I'm doing it.
Over the years, American companies moved manufacturing to China to expand their profit margins. The transfer of manufacturing to China has been notorious. It is why you see Made in China almost everywhere. You will also see Made in China tags on some merchandise sold at Trump rallies. COVID-19 pandemic and Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The United States has witnessed sluggish industrial growth for more than 2 decades. The conventional wisdom has been that it is impossible to compete with China because of its advantage of cheap labor. However, this widely believed fact has turned out to be a myth, just like the notion that chameleon changes color to camouflage itself with its surroundings. Are you surprised by this revelation? This channel teaches you the importance of questioning everything. Recent global events, such as the war in Ukraine and the COVID-19 pandemic, have triggered the current reindustrialization of America. You may not have fond memories of the pandemic, but you remember how some things vanished from shelves because of the supply chain disruption occasioned by the pandemic. The United States, read consumers in the US, paid a heavy price for relying on manufacturing from other countries. After Vladimir Putin commenced his 2-week special operation in Ukraine, China has not hidden its dream of invading Taiwan. It has become clear that America needs to return manufacturing to America to avoid relying on other countries. The government has begun making massive capital investments to revive manufacturing in the country. The support of the reindustrialization process across the political aisle is credible. Politicians and voters, Republican, Democratic, and Independent, agree the time has come for America to reindustrialize. American Renaissance is fast approaching. Industrialization 3.0 will be comparable to Web 3.0. It is incredible how many people have not noticed it yet. American reindustrialization is not a matter of speculation anymore. It is happening before our eyes. At the peak of the American dream, the U.S. was the global manufacturing powerhouse. We have since ceded this position to China.
Look at the picture this way. China is a corporation. Okay, it's a central corporation that is functioning or has been functioning on all cylinders, making sure all of its different branches of governance, control are synced up so they can push their one agenda, which is One Belt, One Road initiative, which basically means that China is trying to make sure as much of the global economy goes through it as possible.
The recent lessons have been painful but timely. Current efforts will make the United States a global superpower once again. Aren't you convinced that we are witnessing the growth of manufacturing never seen since the Second World War? Let me give you some hard to see that American manufacturing is coming back like a tsunami. The past 3 years have witnessed massive reshoring of manufacturing. American companies that had moved to China are now coming back. The enormous reshoring has resulted in massive growth of manufacturing. The government has been at the center of the current reindustrialization. 3 pieces of legislation passed by Congress have created a conducive environment that has encouraged the manufacturing growth we are witnessing now. These are the Inflation Reduction Act, Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, and CHIPS Act. We can all hope that the current trend will hold and that the American dream will become a reality once again. Reindustrialization of America is not only a good news to Americans, but also to the world. The decline of China. Opinion columns have been awash with arguments that China's manufacturing is formidable. You must have seen a phrase like "China rises as America falters." The comparative advantage that China has enjoyed in the past no longer exists. China is no longer a low-cost manufacturing place because of the rise in education and wages. The country is also undergoing reforms to ditch cheap, labor-intensive manufacturing and focus on higher-end manufacturing. The highly skilled labor force in the U.S. is attractive to manufacturing companies. What is the future outlook of U.S. manufacturing? The recent crises have taught us the importance of the security of the supply chain, which is part and parcel of the U.S. national security. We are currently on the right path to becoming self-reliant. Reindustrialization is not a walk in the park. It requires massive investments in industrial infrastructure. We must build new factories, pipelines, and refineries and rebuild the old ones. It will take time for us to achieve the level of industrialization that we had during the Second World War. The good news is that we are on the right track. The current reindustrialization surge will make America once again a global factory. Chinese companies are already moving their manufacturing to America. Soon, Made in America may dominate the Chinese market, much to their chagrin and much to our delight. If you enjoyed watching this video and want to support the channel for more great content, please like this video. Hit the subscribe button to become a member of this channel. Do you agree that the greatest reindustrialization in U.S. history is happening right now? Please let us know in the comments section below. Turn on notifications on this channel to get notified of the newest video we upload regularly. Please click here to watch another video. Thanks for watching.